Battle of Aegospotami, 405 BCE. The fall of Athens. In the late 5th century BCE, the ancient Greek world had been locked in a brutal struggle for nearly 3 decades. This conflict, known as the Peloponnesian War, pitted the naval power of Athens against the military might of Sparta. For years, both sides suffered devastating losses, but the war's final and most decisive moment would occur on the shores of a narrow strait called Aegospotami, the rivalry that shaped Greece. Athens had built one of the most powerful naval empires in the Mediterranean. Its fleet controlled trade routes and protected its vast alliance network known as the Delian League. Meanwhile, Sparta led the rival Peloponnesian League, a coalition of land-based city-states that feared Athenian dominance. As the war dragged on, Athens relied heavily on its navy for survival. Control of the sea meant food shipments from the Black Sea could reach the city. Lose the fleet, and Athens would starve. By 405 BCE, the war had reached a critical stage. Sparta's new commander. Sparta placed its hopes in the capable admiral Lysander, a cunning and patient strategist. Unlike many Spartan commanders, Lysander understood the importance of naval warfare. With financial support from Cyrus the Younger of Persia, he rebuilt Sparta's fleet and trained his sailors relentlessly. Soon the Spartan fleet sailed north toward the strategic waterway known as the Hellespont, the vital route through which grain flowed to Athens. If Sparta could cut that lifeline, the war would be over. The Athenian fleet arrives. Athens quickly dispatched its navy to confront the threat. The fleet established a base near the small river called Aegospotami on the northern shore of the Hellespont. Across the strait, Lysander positioned the Spartan fleet at the city of Lampsacus. Every day, the Athenians sailed out in battle formation, challenging the Spartans to fight. But Lysander refused. Day after day, the same pattern repeated. The Athenians sailed out. The Spartans stayed in harbor. Believing the enemy was afraid, the Athenians became careless. Fatal mistake. The Athenian fleet had anchored on an open beach with no harbor, forcing sailors to scatter inland each day in search of food and supplies. Ships were left unattended. Lysander watched carefully. Then, on the 5th day, he struck. As the Athenians once again returned to shore and dispersed across the countryside, the Spartan fleet suddenly sailed out of Lampsacus at full speed. They found the Athenian ships unguarded. The destruction of the Athenian fleet. The attack was swift and devastating. Spartan forces stormed the beach and seized the ships before most Athenian sailors could even return. Nearly the entire Athenian fleet, around 170 triremes, was captured or destroyed. Only a handful of ships managed to escape. Among the survivors was the Athenian general Conon, who fled with a few vessels to Cyprus. For Athens, the loss was catastrophic. The war comes to an end. With its navy gone, Athens could no longer protect its grain supply. Spartan forces quickly moved to blockade the city. Starvation spread within the walls of Athens. In 404 BCE, the once mighty democracy was forced to surrender to Sparta. The terms were harsh. Athens had to dismantle its defensive walls, surrender its remaining ships, and accept a pro-Spartan government known as the 30 Tyrants. A turning point in Greek history. The Battle of Aegospotami marked the end of Athenian naval supremacy and the conclusion of the Peloponnesian War. Sparta emerged the dominant power in Greece, at least for a time. But the victory also weakened the Greek world as a whole, leaving it vulnerable to future powers that would soon rise from the north. The destruction of Athens' fleet at Aegospotami stands as one of the most decisive naval victories in ancient history, a battle won not by brute force alone, but by patience, strategy, and the fatal mistake of an overconfident enemy.